once you do it once, you'll have that assurance of like, oh, wow, I actually feel
I survived.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this actually feels really good. I feel more authentically me.
Welcome to the Token CEO podcast. I'm Erika. I'm the CEO of Barstool Sports and the host of this show. It's Thursday, December 15th. This is episode 244. And before we begin, we just want to say thank you to Omega Accounting Solutions. So what's great about Omega Accounting Solutions? It's a bunch of smart people who love the practice of accounting. Who doesn't love that? What they're designed to do is to help small businesses figure out how they can manage their finances and how they can make sure to understand if their small business is eligible for the employee retention credit. The employee retention credit, little known fact, can deliver up to $26,000 back to the business. That's $26,000 per employee. So if you call Omega Accounting Solutions and you're like, I got a hair salon, I've got a pizza shop, I've got, a dog groomer, whatever that may be. You don't have a dog groomer. I have a business that grooms dogs and like a little mobile van that drives around. Maybe you're a florist. I don't know. If you have a small business and you employ people and you employed people during the pandemic, you can call Omega Accounting Solutions. Very quick and easy. You call 800-300-9ERC. That's 800-300-9ERC. And the Omega Accounting Solutions people can give you a quick and easy diagnosis to understand, one, if you need their help, and two, if you're eligible for this tax credit. So the net of it is Omega Accounting Solutions is a small business champion. Even CPAs turn to Omega Accounting Solutions, and they are here to help your small business get the most out of its tax credits and to also get your act together on your accounting. Call 800-300-9ERC or visit omegataxcredits.com now. Okay, real quick, jumping into this episode. I don't know if you saw the Barstool Invitational or if you watch Rough and Rowdy, but we are putting on a bowl game. The Arizona Bowl is only going to be brought to you on barstoolsports.com or barstoolsports.tv on December 30th. It's our first bowl game. We've got Wyoming. I've heard the entire campus and town and frankly state of Wyoming is coming to Arizona for the game. And we've got Ohio University. We've got Dave, we've got Dan, we've got Jake Marsh. We've got a ton of people from Barstool. All Business Pete is putting it on. Lisa Lipvack and I are going to go spend another holiday in Arizona, as we love to do. And we're really proud to be supporting the Arizona Bowl and their entire foundation. So tune in on December 30th and you can watch the Arizona Bowl. All right, so what are we doing today? We have Miriam Haart joining us. I love Miriam Haart. She's just like a little spitfire. She went to Stanford. She is the daughter of Julia Haart, who is the star of the show called My Unorthodox Life. So My Unorthodox Life is the story of the Haart family. It's live now on Netflix. It's their second season. So Miriam joins us. She talks about her journey. She talks about what she's passionate about. She talks about how she's using her platform to influence other young people. And she talks about being part of the Haart family and the journey that her family made from being ultra-Orthodox Jewish to being independent and leaving their community and tribe, I guess you would call it their tribe, leaving their community in New Jersey, now moving to Manhattan. And you can watch all of her trials and tribulations on Netflix now, or you can just listen to her interview here. All right, I have Miriam Haart with me. Miriam is an entrepreneur. Would you describe yourself as an entrepreneur?
Yes.
She is a graduate of Stanford. Mm-hmm. She's big in Web3, she says.
Yes.
She is, what else would you say about yourself?
I am an innovator, a creator, a speaker. I'm a motivator.
Great.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
Okay, 22 years old.
Yeah.
What are the biggest stresses in your life right now, being 22?
Biggest stresses in my life are, I just made a decision yesterday to join a founders program.
Okay.
So now I know where I'm being for the next month.
Okay.
But after that, I don't know where I'm going to be.
Is it stressful that you've committed to something for a month, or stressful that you don't know what you're doing after a month?
Maybe a little bit of both. So
Okay.
I kind of like the not knowing where I'm going to be feeling. It's kind of fun. But biggest stresses is just Right now I'm on money-making mode. So I want to go back to Stanford.
Okay, you're in money-making mode.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And
How is Stanford going to help you make money?
Well, I need to make more money so I can pay for my tuition to go back to Stanford.
Okay.
Because I'm financially independent. And so
You're financially independent.
Yes.
All right. So let's give a quick backstory. You're kind of a celebrity. So describe your family, like describe the TV show, give people the Miriam Haart of it all.
All right. So the Miriam Haart of it all is that I was actually born in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And I grew up in Muncie, New York, which is the world's largest ultra-Orthodox Jewish community in the U.S.
Okay.
And pretty much was not allowed to be myself most of my life. I had to wear skirts, cover my collarbones. I couldn't play sports. There was no extracurriculars for me to join. I couldn't really ride bikes or just run around without getting made fun of because the girls didn't even wear sneakers. That was considered weird. But I wore them like every single day because how else was I supposed to run if I didn't wear sneakers?
Hard to run on sneakers.
Yeah. And so that was kind of my childhood, just growing up in this environment.
Okay.
Always being different and othered because that's just who I was.
Yeah,
I wanted
you wanted to run and play and ride your bike.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in
show
talking.
A little collarbone.
Exactly, like gossip wasn't cool to me.
Okay.
That's like what the girls
Is that what
they
girls do?
They like sat together and like would talk about who was wearing what. And there's nothing really to do.
But isn't everybody kind of wearing the same thing?
I know. I mean, like, you can get, like, a Chanel, like, the term Jewish American princess is real, especially in these communities.
Why are the communities so wealthy?
Well, I think because they're hard workers and they still, a lot of them still, like, a lot of people do get jobs and support tons of families. So there's very few, like, wealthy families that support a lot of other families.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Things like that. And also, there's a spectrum in the community, too. So there's, like, the ultra-Orthodox who don't have access to the internet and don't watch TV. And then there's some people who, like, watch some TV shows that, like, they think is appropriate for their kids. And, so it's really, like, a spectrum.
Okay.
And so there's still a lot of, like, Orthodox lawyers and Orthodox doctors that are just, like, in the outside world.
That mostly service the community or just service everybody because they're great doctors and lawyers?
So I guess it really
insular
depends.
is it?
So the insularity of it also, it like genuinely just depends on the extremity of the family and the community. And so my family started off being super extreme, like super cut off. And then very slowly, as my mom was trying to make her escape, we got a television in the home.
Okay, got
very
it.
slowly.
Your mother was like boxing out every chance she could.
Exactly. And so like there was space to do all of those things, but it was at the end of the day still super insular. And the first time I became friends with somebody who wasn't from my community, I was 16 years old. Okay. And the first time I became friends with a guy was when I was 16.
Okay, got it.
So I wasn't allowed to talk to boys, and I wasn't allowed. I had no opportunities to meet anybody outside of it.
Okay.
So then fast forward a little bit, decided to leave the community when I was 16.
With your mom?
So my mom, she left when I was 13. And I was kind of like with her a little bit, but also with staying with my dad in Muncie.
Yep.
And I was still religious.
Okay.
I thought what she was doing was super wrong.
Okay,
like I was like very against it. But I'd never said that to her because she was also my mom. And I respected her and I loved her.
Yeah.
And she's my role model, so how can anything that she's doing ever be wrong? At that age especially.
For sure.
And so I just kind of didn't talk about it. It was kind of like a not talked about thing until I was 16. And the first time in my life, I questioned the religion. And that started me on a trajectory of literally reading and rereading the Torah, trying to understand the rules and why I did certain things, and was this rule from God or was this rule derived from the rabbis? And so therefore I don't have to follow the rabbis' rules because they're from the 1500s.
God is one thing, like the old white guys.
Right, like okay,
well,
like I won't eat pork because like, it literally says in the Torah, do not eat pork. Okay, fine, I get it, I won't do that. But then like these rabbis are saying that you can't mix milk and meat together because it might in your stomach, like eating, like all these things. I'm like, okay, this is extra rabbi rules. I don't need to listen to this.
Okay, so rabbi rules are out, God rules are in.
But, so that was my mentality. But then in the religion itself, you never really learn when something is midah d'oraita, which is rules from the God, or midah d'rabanan, the rules from the rabbis. They're all kind of just shuffled together into rules that you follow. And so me trying to figure out which one's which, it was actually kind of impossible. I would have to spend weeks, months, years.
Teasing that apart would be impossible.
Yeah, reading all of the book, like the law books, the halachot of like what is from a rabbi, what is from God, and how to change it. Like, it would be very difficult. So then I hit a point of like, fuck it. I had my fuck it moment.
Fuck it, I'm out.
Fuck it, I'm out. That was when I went to a Burger King. Okay. Which is like, I never walked inside of a Burger King. We literally learned in school, do not go inside of a McDonald's unless you're going to die and you need water. Like that was the extremities.
Why is McDonald's so bad?
Because it's just like America. It's just like everything of the outside world is like greasy fast food.
Okay,
cheese
just
and
wrapped
burger.
up in 2 golden arches.
It's just like it was scary, like when we looked at like McDonald's was like these are like what the outside people. That's where they go. Like we can't
so
go
you're
there.
like fuck it, I'm done with being ultra orthodox.
Yeah.
I'm going to Burger King.
So I walked into a Burger King. It was in a subway station, the sketchiest
Terrible
Burger King.
choice. Terrible choice. Okay.
It was like a Burger King and Cinnabon like mixed
terrible,
in one.
terrible. I was
like,
terrible.
this is so cool. And so
America.
Yeah, and so I walked in there. I ordered a cheeseburger, plain cheeseburger and fries.
Okay.
So I've always heard that the fries are good from these fast food restaurants.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Fast food fries are the best.
And I just
McDonald's better than Burger King, but
all right. I don't know. I actually just had McDonald's for the first time this year.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was okay. It was
okay.
good. Yeah, I like the ice cream. It's good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the soft serve.
Okay.
So I sat with this sandwich in front of my face.
Okay.
And I stared at it for probably like 3 minutes.
Okay.
And then I held it in my hand, and then I took one bite.
Okay.
And this is kind of the one bite, right? Remember
the
one bite? There's like a thing here, one bite.
One bite, everybody knows the rules.
Right, exactly.
Then we give it a score. We don't abandon religion and go on our way, but go ahead.
So I didn't give it a score,
okay.
but I only took one bite and I put it back down.
Okay.
Took one bite of the French fry. Actually, I ate the rest of the French fry because it was really good. And then I threw it out and I walked away.
Okay.
It was like super symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
That was me, that was my fucking moment.
Yeah, you're like breaking from
I
things.
broke the biggest rule in my head of like eating just like pork or I didn't even know what was in there, just like
Nobody
processed
knows.
meat, right? With cheese, just that was it. That was like my fucking moment. And then after that, I had this major introspection for myself of like, okay, now I'm not following this religion that I followed. For 16 years of my life, all the guilt I felt for breaking certain rules.
Yeah, your whole life.
My whole life, just all the internal turmoil that I ever had about what it means to be a good person doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
And so what does matter to me? And in that moment, I realized I like engineering. Because it's something that I started doing when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
I built an app.
Okay.
And I like doing that, but then I got lost in just what it means to be a high school student.
Yep.
And,
all that.
And so I wasn't doing it for 3 years.
Okay.
And I was like, I like engineering. I like building apps. I want to continue doing that.
Okay.
So I applied to this program in San Francisco, a summer camp. Mm-hmm. And I never took any computer science classes because I had no classes to take. And they said you had to take like 2
computer science classes.
Yeah, so I said, okay, I took the classes, And then we had a live interview. It was like over some like Skype or something then. And they asked me questions like, what is a block in engineering? And so I quickly Google a block. And then I'm like, oh, block is this,
Yep.
I quickly Google what's a class, what's a variable. And I'm like Googling everything and telling them. Because the first app I built, I actually didn't know how to code. It was just me watching YouTube videos and
kind of like hacking it together.
Yep. And then I got in.
Okay.
I went to the program. And I fell in love with San Francisco. I fell in love with the growth mindset that was there. I never heard the word no and can't while I was there. It was always like, oh, if you want to do it, do it.
Yeah.
And then in my community, it was always like, oh, no, you can't touch this.
Yeah,
you can't
the
do that.
rules.
Yeah. So I always say that I left the world of no and can't and entered the world of yes and can.
Okay, great.
And that's how it felt for me going to San Francisco.
Okay, that's amazing.
Going out on Saturdays, trying pepperoni pizza, making
living
friends with
your
people,
life.
living my life.
And then meanwhile, there's a TV show happening around your family at this time. So what was that like for you?
Yeah. So pretty much after I got to Stanford, my mom, she wanted to start this TV show because she wanted my family to share a story. Because we all managed to stay together throughout all of this. Like when I came out, I like to say I came out twice.
Okay.
So I had to come out to my dad and tell him that I'm not religious anymore.
Yeah.
And then I also had to come out to my dad and tell him that I'm queer. So I had to literally come out twice to my dad.
So you're like, yeah.
The first time was way harder though for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
after you do that, he's probably like, I don't care who you sleep with.
Exactly.
Or how
right?
you identify.
Exactly.
You've already told me how you identify.
Exactly.
Okay.
So just even coming out to my dad and everything, he said, I love you no matter what. And it was always this like importance in my family of sticking together through thick and thin, and despite our differences, and we all agreed to disagree. And so like that beauty and just all of us having different levels of religiosity and still being able to stay together through the holidays and just love each other no matter what.
Both sides of your family, your mom's family and your dad's family?
Well, this is immediate.
Okay.
And then it's like my mom's family doesn't talk to me or to my mom because we're not religious, and so there's some tension there. There's some tension there. But the immediate family all stuck together.
Okay, got it.
And so just the beauty of family sticking together and like the struggle of, especially as women, the empowerment and the success that like my mom was able to make, that I was able to make, that my sister was able to make, and the story is a beautiful one. And
that's awesome.
So we wanted to share it, and that's kind of how the show came to be.
Okay, and your season 2 is coming out.
Season 2 is coming out.
Do you want to give it a quick plug? What's it called?
So the show is called My Unorthodox Life. It's on Netflix, and it's about my family and how we got to where we are today and the struggles that we went through and the empowerment that we feel and try to encourage other people to feel too. And season 2 is really exciting. I cannot wait for everybody to see it. So it's coming out later this year. Yeah. And so that's
okay. So then, all right. So you're like, all right, I'm not Orthodox. I am a lesbian.
Yeah.
I am an engineer. I want to live on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes.
That's kind of like the Miriam of it all.
Yeah.
And you go live in San Francisco. You go to Stanford. You have an enlightenment. You're trying pepperoni pizza. You're probably wearing short skirts. You're you're going out to clubs, whatever. What's next for you? Like how do you fully articulate this woman?
I think that there is no linear path to life, and I don't think I'll ever know what I'll end up doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what I'll end up doing.
Yeah.
It sounds super boring.
I love that. No, I love that.
But I do have certain passions that I know that if I follow in this path, then I'll die satisfied.
Yeah.
And it's not really to me about any destination in life. It's about the journey and constantly trying to work and trying to do. And what gives me meaning is helping women.
Okay.
I know this about myself. And so that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And the means in which I do it could be through starting companies that help women.
Sure.
Through going into politics. I'm like actually really interested.
You're interested in politics.
I'm really interested in one day being president. Like I want that to be my goal.
Miriam.
And we'll see. Yeah. Shoot for Mars and land on the moon.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. And so
why are you interested in politics? I find most people your age are not interested in politics.
Yeah,
so that's great. Tell me about that.
I'll tell you why, because I'm the least political person I know.
Okay.
I don't listen to any politics. I literally don't watch any news about politics. I think that it's so polarized and it's a media game and there's so much data involved in influencing ideas and thoughts. And to me,
kind of sinister. It's kind of sinister.
Totally. It's totally sinister. And I think people are so divided, and something that I value myself is that I don't judge people based on their views.
Yeah.
And so I genuinely want to try to bridge the divide between America because I love this country, because I wouldn't be here today if not. My mom's a Russian immigrant, and Russia literally paid money to the Russian government. America paid money to the Russian government. It gave them grain in exchange for Jews. Yeah. And that's how my family's here.
Okay, got it.
And so to me, I kind of feel like I had this love-hate relationship with America, like with the Roe v. Wade thing. I did that 4th of July. I was like super pissed.
You're mad at America.
I was
mad.
But at the end of the day, I'm still going to get lunch with America. You know, like I'll yell at you.
I'm still going to eat at your Burger King.
Yeah, you
hate your abortion law. Okay.
Exactly. So that's like kind of how I feel about this country. It's like I'm super pissed at it all the time.
Okay, but that's kind of a great way to be. You want to change it.
I want to change it. And I want to make it better. It's empowered me to live my life and be myself. And I think that it has a potential to empower so many more people too. And I want to kind of be a person that impacts that.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your advice to other people your age? Like I find you're so self-assured. Like, and I love that. I think that's amazing. And you're so matter of fact. So, and I find most people are, one, distracted by their phones, and then two, like unsure of who they are because they're trying to be what other people want them to be. So what's your, what do you see in other 20-somethings?
I think it's about taking that leap of faith. It's about bravery to actually be yourself. Because for me, I think what made me so lucky at the end of the day was my childhood experience, because I was really forced into being myself. I didn't really have a choice into doing it because I genuinely just didn't fit in with other people. Yeah. Even if I wanted to try, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, you were forced to step out, to break for it,
to
step out of something.
Right. And so then my mindset was like, okay, well, if I can't be like these people because I literally just don't know how to do that, I might as well embrace who I am. Yeah. And that just really put me on the path of just doing me, whatever that meant. Yeah. If it meant learning breakdancing on YouTube, I did that. I had like all these random phases and I just went for it. I just did it because there's nobody else to be. There's nothing else to do.
I love that.
And I think it's for other people, it's about taking that leap of faith and that bravery into, if it's cutting your hair because you don't like the length of your hair, doing it. Yeah. Making that cut. If it's like the job and you want to do something that actually seems more interesting to you, it's about taking that leap of faith. And then once you do it once, you'll have that assurance of like, oh, wow, I actually feel
survived.
Better. Yeah, like this actually feels really good. I feel more authentically me. Yeah. And that empowerment will put you on this track of doing it again and again until you really are being the person who you're meant to be. Yeah. And so I think it's just really, I want to encourage people to take that leap and be brave and then listen to their own advice at the end of the day.
Okay, great. I love that. So you want to go back to Stanford.
Yes. get a
to grad
master's.
school. You want to get your master's in what, engineering?
There's like a design impact master's program.
Okay.
That seems cool.
How much does it cost?
Like $100,000.
Okay, so how are you going to raise $100,000?
I can do it.
You can definitely do it.
Yeah, so I'm doing 2 companies with my mom right now.
Okay.
So one
Can you talk
is
about them?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm doing 3 things. So one is a podcast, Faking It.
Okay.
So this is like new. I just started it. You're
Great.
gonna be one of my first episodes.
That's awesome.
It's really exciting. And so hopefully that will do
help
something.
make you some money.
I'm joining my mom's luxury shapewear company called Plus Body.
Okay.
And I'll be like chief product officer. So I'm gonna
great.
head like her like e-commerce and like create apps and do all these things
Great.
that make it cool. You can
What's
going to
be great about this lingerie?
So it is, she patented 9 different patents that infuse design into the fabric itself.
Okay.
So like right now, all shapewear is kind of a plain color, like beige, black, brown, because it stretches out and you can't have any design on anything that stretches.
Okay, got it.
So it ruins it. But she like patented a way to actually infuse design into the fabric.
Okay.
So when you stretch, the design
It
stays
still looks great.
intact.
Okay, love it.
So it's sexy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's like one thing. It's like
Okay.
the thinnest material, has no seams. There's like a lot of like innovative ways of how it's made.
So you're like, take that, Kim Kardashian.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
Here come the hearts.
Exactly. So hopefully
Okay,
that
so you're going to do that.
Yeah, and then as a tech person, and my mom's like also just like brand person and works in like the modeling and that area, we want to create a metaverse together.
Okay.
Yeah, so just like
For
working
models or for people?
for
or
people,
for what?
for brands, for anybody.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
so those are the things. So I'll
What's
be
it like
this
working
year.
with your mom?
I love it.
Okay.
She's my best friend.
Okay.
And also she's just this super incredible entrepreneur.
She is. She's a force of nature. Your mother's a force of nature.
Yeah.
Do you ever like butt heads?
Occasionally, yeah. But I mean, like we genuinely respect each other, and so it's okay if we're able to like butt heads sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, like I'm always learning from her. I love sitting in on her meetings.
Okay.
That's like being in New York, my plan is to learn and grow through her.
Okay.
And so I'll kind of just like be her shadow a little bit and learn how to like pitch to an investor, you know?
Sure.
Just do all these things, like be the CEO that I want to be one day. It's like my mom, which is really
That's great.
really amazing. Yeah.
What do you think, like, what's your advice to someone else who's wants to break out of something? Like, what's your advice to them? Like, what have you learned?
And I guess it really depends on what it is that you're breaking out of. I think something that I've learned is the importance of education and financial independence. So I think really to break out of anything, you need to make sure you have those 2 things.
Definitely.
Really, otherwise you're not going to be set up for success.
Yep.
And so whenever I get messages from people saying like I'm like a community, like a fundamentalist Mormon community, or I'm like queer in this environment, like what should I do? I want to get out. I always tell them to like go online, take a coding boot camp, gain some sort of skill, join an online college if you can't like leave where you are, get an education, get a job, and then break free. And that's
once you can stand on your own.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's kind of the safest path to success, I think.
I love that.
So that's what I encourage people to do.
Awesome. All right, Miriam, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for
was
having me.
so great.
This is awesome.
Okay, let's talk about Rhoback. I love Rhoback's logo. Rhoback has a dog logo. They're a family-run business. They've got great quality stuff. I notice it. Our people wear all sorts of things every single day, but I love when people wear Rhoback because I love just seeing the dog logo. I love the stripes. They have a logo insignia, which is like 2 vertical stripes on the back of your shirt or your hoodie or your quarter zip or whatever it may be. I think it's super high-end looking. It's like honestly seeing someone wear like an Hermes thing. Not really, but like it just has a nice sporty little style. So if you go to Rhoback.com and use code TOKEN, you can get 20% off your first order. They do performance hoodies. They've got performance joggers. They've got moisture wicking fabrics. So if you're like a banker dude and you're sitting at your desk in your golf shirt, naturally it should be Rhoback, and you're like, ooh, I'm getting kind of sweaty, Rhoback will wick away that moisture like this. You can get all of that and more at Rhoback.com. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all polos, quarter zips, joggers, hoodies, and more with the code TOKEN. All right, so what's happening at Barstool Sports? So we had our company meeting at the end of last week, which is a big deal for us. We tend to do our company meetings twice a year, which is probably too infrequently, but it kind of works for Barstool. I don't know. It's like the one moment in time where we get everybody from the 3rd floor, which is all of our business folks. We get everybody from the 2nd floor, which is all of our creative and production and social folks. We bring them together. We get them in a room. Dave and I give kind of the same version of the same speech every year. But it really is pretty staggering. I mean, we grew, and we'll play clips of this episode. We'll play clips from the company meeting in this episode. But it's really staggering to see how much Barstool has grown. And I think it becomes like so palpable when you see the company meeting, because you just look around and it's every year it's 100, 150 people more than it was the year before. So I always have this like weird moment getting to our company meeting of like, holy shit, we're growing so much. This has changed so much. We've come so far from 2016 or even before then. I think this year was kind of special because, we're going into the 20th anniversary of Barstool, which to think about Barstool in 2004 versus thinking about Barstool in 2023 is they're just apples and oranges. They're two completely different things. But it was also really great to hear from Gaz. We heard from Big Cat. We heard from Fights and KFC. Nate did a great piece on the blog. So it was nice to hear from different people within Barstool Sports. KB and Nick, who are the hosts of Anus, they did an investigative report on the third floor, which was hilarious. But I think what it made people realize is that, there's 400 people inside of this company who are trying to make something really different happen and trying to make something really disruptive happen and trying to make something really funny and entertaining and engaging happen. And I think it's just rare. I think it's really rare right now, especially as more people work from home and as more people just kind of become alienated from work. I think it's so rare to have people gathered together from different places with different backgrounds and different skill sets and different perspectives and having them work on the same thing. So that's really inspiring. I still think this is one of the most courageous companies. I think we take an insane amount of risk. I think we are very, very bold. I think everyone here is an insanely hard worker. Most everyone here is just an insanely hard worker. And I think what's great about the company meeting is just it's an awesome time to recognize all of those people. I think the dedication to the brand, to the vision, to the identity is really strong. And then I also really love that this is a place where people kind of take the brand to someplace new, and they take the idea of Barstool Sports and they make it their own. And those are people who work in production, and those are people who work in finance, and those are people who work obviously on the talent side. But I love all of those things. And I think the company meeting is always a good time to just pull back and have some perspective on it. I also, when we have the company meetings, I'm always like, there's so many things that I think we're doing wrong or that we're not doing well enough or that we have to change. And there's a lot, quite honestly, that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that we've just made this thing so complicated. Like, we're still operating this business like we had 150 people and now we have 400 people. And that's really, really, really bad, because what it means is that like the system we have in place, the way we hand one thing from one person to a next just is broken. It just doesn't work. And I worry about people's ability and our ability to like cross the transom and make the change to evolve how we're doing something. Like a lot of what we talked about in the company meeting and in general is just keeping Barstool. So it kind of raises the question of what is Barstool? And I think what Barstool is about is risk taking. It's about humor and comedy and internet content. It's about, a very narrow distance between production and distribution. It's about the exploration of content and humor and topic and opinion. And then it's also about speed and sophistication of how do we think about growing 90-something brands, putting them in 1,700 places and doing the same thing each and every single day of the year. And so I think, we have to continue to change how we do that. We have to evolve how we do it. We have to re-examine what we're doing and why. And I think, I wish we did more of that. And I think 2023 is a year just staring down the Penn acquisition where we're going to have to figure that out. One of the things we talked about is, when we look at next year and we look at our goals, whether that's brand and audience or it's revenue or it's productivity, we've got to get simpler and smarter about how we do things. It's kind of like we 10x the size of the company and we 10x the size of our problems instead of 10xing the size of the company and 100xing our scale because we have so many more people and we have so many more resources and we have so much more scale. So those are the things I'm worried about and thinking about. Also, I think we've kind of gotten into this time where people are out for themselves first and Barstool second, which is kind of natural. I actually think that's kind of just the nature of work right now, which is people are more self-motivated and self-serving. I think remote work did that. I think the pandemic contributed to that. I think just the world of social media that we live in is promoting that. But it's sometimes hard to reel people back in to say, like, is this good for Barstool and for you, or is this good for you and not so great for Barstool? So those are the things I'm thinking about coming out of the company meeting. So instead of me talking about it, why don't we just listen? You can listen and watch it. So here's a few clips from the company meeting. The biggest thing that I think Dave talked about in his video and that I really care about is keeping Barstool. And we're obviously staring down Penn will acquire us in February. And when I think about keeping Barstool, that's not just about our talent team and the content we make, but it's also about how we do business. Most media companies are out of business. Like or at least when I started, we talked about Deadspin all the time. We talked about Gawker. Like, we talked about all these publishers. We talked about HuffPost. Like, none of these people are relevant. They're certainly not growing, and they're not making any money. So we're in some ways like the last of the Mohicans in that there are very, very, very few brands left that are relevant, that are growing, that are able to make money, and where people can make them a shortcut for themselves. And we always give we tried to mix up this meeting a little bit where we don't give you the same lecture the whole time. But this really is a place where it is what you make of it. And every year we make so much stuff that I think makes us so proud. We also do a lot of stupid shit that we shouldn't be doing again. And so this is kind of that time of year where we reflect that. What makes Barstool? We're super nimble. We will do most anything for a laugh. We're highly experimental. There's a ton of weird brains here. Our fans are the best. They are better than anybody's on the internet or really anything in media. And so long as we keep our fans, we will be great at content. We will be great in business. But it's all at the end of the day about our fans. And then we have a bunch of X factors here. And I think the X factor is not just people who do crazy things. It's that things can happen at any moment in time from any group of people, whether you're a business person, you're in finance, you're in accounting, you're an engineer, you're a content person, you're a producer. Crazy shit happens here and we take advantage of it, and that's what makes Barstool so unique, and that's what's going to stay true to Barstool over time. We've grown over 3,000%, so we've grown 3,600%, and as a result, Barstool has become more complex. Like, when people ask me about Barstool, it's actually a very, very complex, nuanced business. If you looked at the month of November or December, we produced 15,000 pieces of content across 17,000 social accounts, across 1,000 advertisers, and 400 pieces of merch. It's crazy complex. So our business has gotten very complex. For us to keep Barstool, we have to simplify how we're doing our business. We're trying to do the same thing. The times that I get most frustrated at work are when we're trying to do things the way we did with 50 people or 100 people or even 200 people. We're trying to do the same thing with twice the amount of people and 10x the numbers of brands here. So we've got to continue to evolve how we do business, how we run this thing. Because by keeping it small, by keeping us focused, by keeping us centered on the fan and the content, everything works if we do that. If we get the brand right, if we get the voice right, if we get the fan right, the rest of it just follows. And keeping our creative relevant, keeping it sharp, keeping it opinionated, keeping it creative is really, at the end of the day, the biggest thing we have to protect. And we have to make sure our business is as simple as possible and as efficient as possible around that. Let's talk about Shopify. Speaking of our company, love our commerce business. We are built on Shopify. Shopify is awesome. If you want to sell t-shirts, you want to sell hats, you want to sell candles, you want to sell notebooks, if you have a creative idea that you think people should wear, Shopify is an incredible platform to make that dream come true and make that vision come alive. So what's awesome about Shopify is they offer online retailers a suite of services that includes payments, marketing, shipping, and customer engagement tools. So you could be like, I have this crazy idea. My brother and I came up with an idea over Thanksgiving. My brother and I came up with an idea for a brand, which I love. I'm not going to talk about it till I trademark it, but I think it's amazing. And we played this game. After probably too much wine, where we were like, what would this company be? We know what the brand is. What would we make? If we ever figure that out, we'll put that business on Shopify. So what Shopify enables entrepreneurs to do and creative people to have happen is to connect with their customers, to drive sales, to understand the data analytics, and then to manage their day-to-day business operation. You can sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/tokenceo. That's all lowercase. So shopify.com/tokenceo, all lowercase, and you can start selling online today. Let's go to Q&A. First Q&A. I work in management and I have to fire someone. What do you think the best way to be professional about it? I'm 26 and I didn't think I'd be in a leadership role so young. I've also never fired someone. Ooh, my God, your head is like probably in a pretzel. It sucks to fire someone. It creates so much anxiety. You worry about it. You think through it. You have apprehension for it. Your head is just consumed about having to fire someone. I think most people, myself included, can be a little bit avoidant about having to fire someone, but it always, I think, is a relief after you do it, because ultimately it's clearly the right thing for your business. And to be honest, it sounds like your business or your team or whatever this role is isn't right for that person. So, my perspective on firing someone is it's never easy. It's not pleasant. You have to keep in mind that you are having a massive impact on someone's life. So you're having a massive impact on their income. You're having a massive impact on their resume and reputation. And you're also having a personal impact, right? So much of people's validity and self-fulfillment and ego comes from what they do for work. And essentially by firing someone, you're taking that away. So you got to take that very seriously. I think taking that seriously means treating the whole situation with respect. So, allow for a lot of time. It probably won't take a lot of time. I find that most firing conversations are kind of short and usually unpleasant, but allow for, an hour's worth of time per se. The second is lay out your points. Like, you don't want to be fumbling all over the message. You have to lay out your points. You need to rehearse your points. You've got to be really clear on why are you firing this person? What exactly is going to happen to them? And what the next steps are. I think sometimes when you tell someone, hey, your job's been eliminated or there isn't a place for you here anymore, people stop listening to you after you say, like, hey, it's not going to work out. And so you've got to sometimes repeat the same hard truth multiple times so that the person hears it. You've got to have good EQ in a firing situation, I think, where you have to approach it with respect. You've got to be firm and deliberate. You've got to be very clear, like, don't mince words, don't talk around the problem. You really want to say, hey, like, this job isn't going to work out. You're not going to be employed here anymore. Here are the reasons why that's going to happen. And here's what the next step is. You should be as kind as possible, but it's more important that you be as clear as possible. And then I also think you have to remember that nobody gives a shit about you in this situation. Like, you're the person firing someone else. So don't don't be like, oh, this was so hard for me to do. That person doesn't care. You just fired them. So keep yourself out of it, but be respectful, be firm, be clear, be supportive, be communicative. Again, just be respectful. Usher the person out. Make sure you have Kleenexes on your desk in case the person cries. Be sure that you can be discreet, right? You want to escort the person out of the building. You want to ask, hey, if you need me to go get the stuff from your desk, I can do that for you. And also use your HR people. So have your HR people help you navigate this conversation. You also may want to have an HR person in the room with you so that there's no ambiguity of what was said or how it was said. All right, second question. I'm a chief of staff at a corporate software company, and we're on the third COO we've had in 8 months. Yikes, sounds like a shit show. Because the mountain of change employees have undergone, it's increasingly more complex to rally the troops. What advice do you have when personnel or initiatives change and they're not within your control? Ooh, this is a good question. Okay, one is there's clearly something going on at your company if you've been through 3 COOs, which is a chief operating officer, within 3 months. That's basically like each COO is lasting 2 months, which is hardly a moment to get something done. So of course, it's really hard to rally the troops because there's clearly some underlying dysfunction or underlying distress in your company that's causing a massive operational role to not be able to be filled successfully for more than, a few months at a time. So I think the big thing, I think that in your chief of staff role, you got to have your eyes open and you have to have clarity of thought. Like, why is it that you've gone through 3 COOs in 8 months, right? Like, what exactly is going on? Is your boss the problem? Is the product the problem? Is the investment the investors or the stock market the problem? Like, is the consumer or the market fit a problem? Like, what is the problem? Why is it? Is it the current management team? Is that the problem? Like, what is the problem that is making what should be a very stable, secure, substantial role at the company feel so tumultuous? So I think you've got to understand that. I think to rally the troops, you need to be like pretty forthright and fairly honest, which is, hey, this is what's going on here. This is why this is happening. And this is what we're doing to fix it. I think it's hard to rally the troops to have morale or to be bought in or to feel committed if there's clearly something that is impeding a massive new hire coming into your company. If there's something impeding that person taking hold and that person being successful. I think it's super normal to hire one COO and have them not work out because they were a bad fit or just wasn't a culture fit or whatever that may be, or maybe they were an idiot. But to have 3 not work out says more about the company than it says about the hire. And I think in your role, you can be massively impactful in not just rallying the troops and talking to, the rank and file employees, but also in influencing management, because it sounds like that's where you need to start. And rallying the troops is almost secondary because until you fix whatever the problem is, it's going to be impossible to manage the troops. So that's how I would approach it. All right, third question. How do you recommend approaching an end-of-year review when you're already looking for a new job and you're going to leave? I mean, why even have an end-of-year review, right? Like, who cares? Like, do you care what these people have to say? You're going to be leaving. I personally like feedback. I hate feedback and I like feedback. So I think any opportunity to have a conversation where someone can give you input that helps you learn about yourself is a good opportunity. So personally, I would go into this review. I would be super, super professional. I would get as much feedback as you can. I would be actively engaged. You don't want to leave the company and then have your boss look back and be like, God, she was a total asshole in her year-end review. Like, I think you want to approach the situation as you would were you staying at the company. I think what you want to take from the review is completely selfish at this point, where you just want to take input that will help make you more successful at your next job and your next company. I would not use the opportunity to go like guns blazing and be like, fuck you, I hate this company, I hate what you do, I think you're stupid, whatever. I wouldn't use it for that. I wouldn't be bombastic in the review, but I would make it clean. I would keep it simple. I would make it easy. I would get as much feedback as you can that's going to help you in your life. Even if you disagree with some of it, quite honestly, like get their perspective on you, because that's going to be important for you to register and hide and file away somewhere. You may want to draw back on that experience in the future. All right, Mint Mobile. The best deal in wireless can be found at Mint Mobile. Who doesn't love a deal? I love a holiday deal. I was like shopping online on the train this morning and I was like, oh my God, there's so many deals out there. You can find the best wireless deal at Mint Mobile, so who doesn't love that? Where right now, if you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you'll get another 3 months for free. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, what Mint Mobile does, it lets you order and activate from home with an eSIM card while saving tons on phone plans. Phone plans start at just $15 a month. I can tell you that my phone plan is not $15 a month. I'd be so fired up to have a phone plan that was $15 a month. What's great about these plans is they come with unlimited talk and text, high-speed data, and the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone, which is great. You don't have to go get a new phone. You don't have to change all your photos or like give it 2 years for the Apple iCloud to update. Or if you want a new phone and you want to go through all that, you can get a new device with 6 months of free service when you buy one. All right, so for a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plans and get 3 months free by going to mintmobile.com/token. That's mintmobile.com/token and cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/token. All right, so closing thoughts. We have 2 closing thoughts for you. I was thinking this morning about things that I would want to share with people. I'm kind of like in the end of the year, dying to get on vacation, holiday mode, tired. But I also feel like really energized to get organized. I don't know if other people feel like that. Like I'm feeling like this sudden spurt of energy to like get organized and get my shit together. So I'm in the middle of like a lot of list making. I'm in like a list making phase. I have like a notebook full of like lists everywhere. Other things that I'm thinking about, I'm watching this show called Shantaram, which is on Apple Plus. So I read the book, loved it. I'm now watching tomorrow is the last episode of season 1, which I'm very sad about. I've been like patiently waiting every Friday to get a new episode. So if you're looking for something to watch, if you like international stories, Shantaram is amazing on Apple Plus. I'm also reading a book that I would share and definitely recommend, which is How Soccer Changed the World. And it's kind of a view of globalization from a soccer perspective. Talks about crazy fans, which is obviously something we have here at Barstool. Talks about globalization, talks about corporate influence and corruption. Speaking of World Cup, total disaster with the European Parliament. That's fucking scary. So anyways, if you're interested in World Cup, if you watch the World Cup finals this week, this is a really interesting book just on the beautiful game and how that played out in a global agenda, but also it's really about nationalism and tribalism. I think that's very interesting. I am not wearing turtleneck sweaters. I'm trying to wean myself off turtleneck sweaters. You'll understand why when we play the clip from the company meeting with Francis. And then the last thing we're going through here is we're doing the Myers-Briggs personality test, which the camp counselors, Tim and Marianne, who are like helping us get organized and get our act together and be able to communicate with one another, they are big believers in this personality test, which I've never done before. Have you guys ever done this before?
I think maybe in like high school.
Okay, have you done it? I've never done it before. I'm an ENFP, which is that you are seeking self-actualization and pursuit of excellence, and you are people-centered creators, and you seek emotional intensity, which I was like, explains like every disaster in my life. But anyway, so that's one thing I'm learning about right now. I think a lot of our management team is taking the personality test and is like, oh, that's why I'm this way. That's why you think I'm an asshole. This is why I don't relate to people. This is why I like this. This is why I don't like that. This is how I work. So that's what I'm watching, reading, not wearing, and learning as closing thoughts for today. And then we'll just hand it to Francis and Caroline to sing us out.
Hey Dave, it's another year in the books. We're so close to the finish line. I know we've taken our lumps, but in a couple of months, we'll be signing pens, papers on the dotted line.
Hey Erika, you've done such a great job. Thanks to your gigantic media power. I don't mean to cut us short, but since we're meeting in New York, my accountant says I've only got an hour.
Have you seen these expense reports from the Chicago office?
Sorry, but I don't give a shit.
Well, they spent $6,000 on hot dogs and they called themselves
Those morons, those fuckers, those low-life idiots. Ooh, it's been a long year at Barstool. Many successes and plenty of fails. The hit pieces came and they all said the same. We can't wait for Penn to finish the deal. Hey, have some fun, you fuckers. Guess nobody's drinking yet. This is the worst crowd I've ever performed for. This year has come to a close,
Just like the Dave Portnoy show.
and it's been oh so messy.
Like Jerry's pants after the company party.
Another year flew by so
Like
fast,
Tommy's laptop in the hands of Big Cat.
and it's been insane, and that's a fact.
Like Aunt Glennie Ball singing for Nickelback.
So much was accomplished that we couldn't fathom.
Like an invitational game and a boobgasm.
Some things I wish I could unsee.
Like Frank the Tank, sexy bed selfie.
It's been a long year at Barstool. Many successes and plenty of fails. The hit pieces came and they all said the same. We can't wait for Penn.
No, we can't wait for Penn.
Where are you, Jay Snowden? Let's finish the deal. Well, that's interesting, Erika.
Yes, Dave, it
Do you
is.
ever wonder what the employees here actually think about working here?
I think they're so happy.
Yeah, I think so too. But we've got this big pile of employee feedback from those fucking HR forms that I'm sure they took seriously.
Definitely.
Let's take a look at those and what they have to say.
Okay.
Brick by brick and blog by blog. Chicken fries merch pays for all of our jobs.
does.
Brick by brick and blog by blog.
Nate's gonna kill me if I don't read a blog.
Brick by brick and blog by blog. Anus ads reads really don't pay for our jobs. Brick by brick and blog by blog.
Only fans wanna sleep with Lenny balls.
Brick by brick and blog by blog. Frank the Tank's cameos pay for his hot dogs.
Yes.
Brick by brick and blog by blog.
Chicks in the office listens pay for all of our jobs.
Yeah, and brick by brick and blog by blog. Token CEO is a very dynamic
So enlightening.
podcast
Yes.
from a unique female voice that
Breaking the glass
you
ceilings.
don't hear
Breaking
about
them.
it often, and it
Uh-uh.
uses so few resources.
No, like it's a one-woman show.
And
Yes.
I just think it's Elizabeth Holmes without the scandal.
I always say that.
Put her in a turtleneck already. And
Literally.
you know what? Fuck your motherfucking bitch-ass business degree, you cunts. Anyway, brick by brick, blog by blog. PMT's merch pays for all of our jobs.